Alright, hey everyone, this is Scourrge, back for another video. It's been a while, and I haven't been playing too much poker online lately, so we'll see how this goes. Bovada has just recently, a few days ago, opened up Zone Poker, which is their version of, Zoom or Rush Poker. I assume everyone knows how that works, so I'm not going to really talk too much about that, but it's not got too many people playing yet, so it's a little bit, it doesn't have quite as many of the benefits of this kind of poker, since there are not as many people playing it. It does sometimes take a little while to get the table to fill. It's not quite instantaneous the way you would want ideally, but it's still pretty nice. It's basically the only way I think that people are going to be able to get any volume on Bovada, just because of the 4-table limit. Say you're playing 6 max, you're playing maybe 70 hands an hour, and you have 4 tables going, you can only get 280 hands an hour or so. With zone poker, you're getting like 200 hands an hour per table. So right now, they actually just today, I think, started running 25NL tables for zone. They started out just with 5NL and 10NL, which I'm 2-tabling, so I have 5NL on the left, 10NL on the right, 6 max. If other tables get bigger player pools while I'm doing this video, I might add them in, but otherwise this is going to be it. Let's see, what else? Oh yeah, and the 9 max, the full ring tables, aren't getting too much play really. The 6 max tables seems like they're going pretty consistently. I think I kind of have to call a bet here because I have an overpair with 5s. I think he's going to give up on most turn cards, and even if not, this is a pretty great one for us. He bets again, which, I mean, at zone poker people are a little nittier, so I'm expecting him to have some more overpairs now, but now we're getting like 2.5 to 1 here, and I still have an overpair, so I'm pretty inclined to call. If he bets huge again, I'm probably going to have to fold, though. I think unfortunately our range looks pretty much exactly like what it is, which is unfortunate because now I'm really considering a call. I think I'm going to just call here. Okay. Yeah, so that's probably just a good spot to fold, frankly. This is a bad card for us, and I'm mostly taking a one-and-done approach to c-betting in zone, just because mostly, I mean, some people are calling down with draws and stuff, but it seems like, wow, okay, getting away with double barreling is tricky at best, especially because not only do you have anonymous tables, you have anonymous, and like, instead of anonymous by session, it's anonymous by hand. So you really have no idea who you're playing with, and that can definitely be a challenge. So started out right with a little bit of a spew on that 5-5 hand. I think the only questionable part was probably the river. I could have considered 3-betting this, kind of like just flatting it, though I think it plays pretty well in position. I'm just going to call here. I don't really see any value in raising. And again, if he bets again, I probably just have to call, because it's hard to see what worse calls me. And he can keep betting queens here. I have to raise the river though for value if he were to bet, and instead I'm just going to go for kind of smallish bet, try to get a crying call from a queen jack, ace queen. I'll check what he had in a second here. Oh, actually that might not be right. Is that even the right hand? It's taking forever to load. I'll just... Okay, well, we'll let that go for a little bit. I don't know why, but their hand histories have been a little slow lately. Okay, so he had a really weak queen. Kind of surprised he snap called the river. Probably means I should be betting a little bit bigger there in general. But again, because unknown player types every time. This is a pretty weird spot. I mean, I'm gonna bet just because I don't really mind taking down the bot. It's more, this is practically a semi bluff at this point because when we're called, we're almost certainly behind, but we have so much equity that it's kind of seems criminal not to bet. And this is actually a pretty good card because I'm just gonna flat call this because who knows, this guy might spaz out, and he doesn't, but that's fine. It's a great card because I've seen people float with like ace high all over the place. So we actually got pretty lucky there. He had two pair. But I'm not really sure what it is because it seems like people are a little bit nittier pre-flop at zone poker. But they just seem ridiculously... how do I even put this? They're calling down on the flop really light. Like I see plenty of floats, but it seems like they're floating without any kind of plan. So maybe I should be actually getting 7-1 here with suited cards with a queen. I'm gonna actually call. I'm almost never facing a raise from the big blind. But yeah, so people are, I don't know, float a lot on flops. I haven't played enough to really get a feel for what's happening on turns in terms of, well, I'm almost inclined to call here, but it's so easy for him to just like bet a weird 7 there, kind of min bet, get tiny value. Let's see if the 25 NL table has any action. Not too much. Omaha actually has had decent numbers lately, which kind of surprised me. I mean, I don't play Omaha, so it's kind of hard for me to judge. I think this is a good card for us to bet. I think his range is extremely weak here. I can actually probably bet rivers. He'll have a lot of ace high. He'll have a lot of pocket pair 6s through 9s. He might have some weird like 6-5 suited type hands. Yeah, I'm still definitely trying to get a feel for when I can really be exploiting weak ranges because people are calling down weak. I'm gonna bump it up here. I don't really mind just taking it, and I have a pretty playable hand in position, so I'd like to just get a little bit more money in the pot. And he's short stacked, which might actually incline me to make my raise size a little bit smaller, but that's okay. Open shove, king high. With a hand like king queen here, I'm actually considering calling for only 60 big blinds. King 6 obviously a little bit too weak, since he can be shoving like weird like king 10, king jack, king queen. But these open shoves, I've actually found like weird shoves, weird back raises are more often just complete junk hands rather than someone taking a weird line with like I don't know, like taking a weird line with aces or something. This is a snap call because you can have draws, king queen, queen jack, queen 9, apparently. kind of surprised he snap shoves it, like doesn't even think about it. But you know, we're okay with that. I was kind of hoping to get the 25 NL table up and running for this video, but when I started there were only like 7 people on it. Now there's still only like 8, and that's just not really worth the time. It's like not even like you're playing zone anymore. This is like the not worst board to see bet with this hand. So basically check folding here, because this is going to hit a flatting range so strongly. And, you know, he can obviously have some pure bluffs there, but good for him if he does. Like, I can't really do anything with 9s there at 10 and 0. I'm going to squeeze kind of big. Jacks is not going to play that well out of position 3-way, which it might still happen. But I'm ahead of their ranges here, so I really don't mind putting more money in. Not the best flop. I actually think I'm going to c-bet this because it's dry and I have blockers to straight out. So, and obviously my perceived range here is really strong, so I don't really mind people folding something that has equity against me, like ace high, like ace 10 or ace king. Actually, they might not fold ace king. That guy in position might not fold ace king there, but just because you squeeze and people don't fold doesn't mean that their ranges got any stronger. Wow. Okay, this has been happening like a ton to me lately, so if I start bitching about it, I apologize. But I've gotten ace maybe like 10 or 15 times at zone poker so far. I haven't played that many hands, obviously. But I've gotten walks in the blinds with it every time that I've had it in the blinds. And then I've stolen the blinds probably like 90% of the time without that included. So yeah, and then I think like the like 2 times that I've actually gone to a flop, I've like flopped sets and not gotten anything. So I will probably complain a little bit if that continues. He kind of snap calls the flop, which, I mean, you know, people say like, oh, his range is weak, oh, his range is strong. I usually just consider it he didn't think about raising. So that could mean like an ace. It could mean, I actually think it's more likely to be an ace rather than just a heart. I'm just going to take the free card and just give up here. Yeah, so I mean, he called with bottom pair and a gut shot on the flop. We catch top pair here. Definitely calling at least one street. His sizing kind of sucks because, I mean, it's draw heavy, so I think he can bet like worse aces sometimes, but there's only really ace 10 and maybe ace 8 that he has here, most likely. He's also deep stacked, which usually means he's going to be half decent. He's afraid of the spade. I'm probably going to have to check call the street if he tries to bet for value, but actually I could bet. It's hard to see what I get called by that's worse, though, because he might think he's giving a crying call with like ace queen here. If he bombs it again, I probably have to fold. But he has bluffs too, which I guess I didn't really consider enough. I'm going to check what he had there because we should be able to see it. Maybe. I'm going to flat here, getting pretty good odds. They're short stacked, but I think I have enough implied odds and already good price in here that it's fine. I'm actually going to lead out because this is so draw heavy, and I think people will get it in with like spade draws and like open enders. And I'm gonna do, this actually is probably the same guy. Ah, shit. Oh, screw you. Okay. I forgot the time make is pretty short on zone. Been doing that. Not a ton, but frequently enough to be annoyed by it. I'm just gonna 3-bet here. 3-betting has been so-so for me in terms of getting folds, but I'm in position with a playable hand, and he's actually deep enough stacked that I think C-bets will take it down sometimes. I'm gonna ISO here. He's short, so it's not the best, but he hates everything he has if he doesn't have a spade right now, and I do have a pair. And based on what I've seen so far, I think he can probably call with like ace king with the king of spades type hands, which he doesn't realize but is really good for us. Kind of like this hand. Oh, I see, okay. So he kind of semi-bluffed the flop, gave up on the turn, decided not to fire the river, which I think he played it pretty close. I mean, probably optimally, actually. Wow. So we get flatted 3-bet, cold call 3-bet. Definitely 4-betting here. Question as to what size. It's kind of awkward because all the people in this hand are short. I think he's going to shove pretty much almost everything he 3-bets for value anyway, and his 3-bet sizing looks pretty nutted. So I'm probably getting it in against like ace queen 10s plus, which, you know, we're not crushing, but I think is fine. If he gets in, it's kind of annoying because now we're probably, some of our outs are probably gone, like almost certainly, but wow, okay. I wasn't expecting him to get in quite that late, but that's obviously fine for us. But yeah, the thing is that I can get it in with ace king there, even though I'm pretty sure he's going to have pocket pairs most of the time, just because there's so much out there when the guy on my immediate left had flatted, and then the guy in the big blind had cold called the 3-bet. So suddenly there's like already, you know, $3 in the pot. It's a lot more incentive to just go with it. I've been trying to raise more suited connectors from under the gun just because I think people don't really expect you to be raising those hands. And they're still playing pretty well. I don't know. Someone might get mad at me about that, but yeah, can't really call that with 10 high. Button raise, I'm a little more inclined to just 3-bet the shit out of him. Especially if someone min raises the button, I'm gonna 3-bet them like extremely wide, especially when it's zone poker and they can't be like, oh, this guy 3-bet me like 3 times in a row on the button. I'm gonna 3-bet like tiny. I'm not really sure. I could 3-bet for like his stack, but if someone else wakes up with a hand, I'd rather risk the minimum. I think this gets pretty much the same job done as a 3-bet to maybe 50 or 60 cents. It's a little bit weird. This guy just called off like a quarter of his stack or so. If he shoves, I'm probably just gonna put this guy in for the rest, and fortunately he flat calls, but obviously we catch a dream flop, so we're okay with it. Sizing is a little bit weird here. I think I'm gonna go like a teensy bit below half pot because he's only got 46 cents. and I want to have somewhat normal sizing on the, not normal sizing per se on the river, but if he were to call, then I don't want to be only putting it in for, wow. Cool, I guess. So he just opened 15 cents with 6-4 offsuit under the gun, flatted for 20 cents more, which frankly is probably necessary once that guy flat calls. He's probably better off shoving though. Trying to get heads up. And then he got it in with bottom pair, which frankly is probably a winning play because I might see bet some junk there, I guess. There's 12 players at this at the 25-0 game now. I'm not really rolled, so I've been trying to be good about not playing 25-0 really. But the thing is that if I'm only one tabling it and there's no auto top up, I'm basically having automatic stop loss, at least for a given hand, of one buy-in. And so I don't really mind like one tabling 25-0. And I think, you know, 2 tables is, it's fine. It's a little bit slow, even, you know, for zone. Obviously, it's better than just like 3 tabling not zone, but this is a great board. It's pretty draw heavy though, so I'm gonna bet pretty big, like 75% pot roughly. And obviously he doesn't catch a piece, but you know, that's fine. This is 5-0. I'm just gonna fold this. I mean, I don't think people are really 3-betting as a bluff enough, and I'm under the gun, so you shouldn't really be bluffing that much anyway. And by shouldn't be, I mean he won't be bluffing that much anyway. I'm gonna hop in this game for a while. We'll see how it goes. Probably could have ISO'd that hand. Actually, that was probably bad to not do so. At this point, I don't really have initiative in the hand. I don't think leading out accomplishes too much, except for folding out worse hands than ours. And I just want to give up. It's interesting, there's still a lot of short stackers here, despite it, you know, being 25-0. This says to me actually that some people are just hopping up higher than what they should be. Pretty good board to see bet. He's short, so I think I can get away. I probably can get away smaller than this, but I think making it $1 is like a good size, just in general. It's not a really good card for us at all. Just gonna check behind. We catch a baby flush and he checks, which, I mean, wow, it's kind of weird because, like, we obviously don't really beat anything that calls, so I think it's just check behind. The main, oh wow, he actually had a hand. The main thing there would have been, like, could he have had a bad flush, like a 9-10 suited type hand that can fold on the river? And the answer is probably no. Like, the fact that he's short stacking and the fact that he calls to flop without really getting the odds, etc. You know, if he's flagging that hand to begin with, he might not be so good, and so he might not even be able to get away from that. When he checks the river, when he checks the turn and the river, though, I mean, maybe I can bet that. It's kind of, it just feels kind of weird because you can have some random hands that beat us, but that don't want to bet, I guess. If he were deeper, I'd probably be 3-betting this. And I'm gonna 3-bet this. Not so big though. And I'm gonna time out. So I did that thing that I pretty much always do, where I don't keep track of the time, how long I've been playing. So, see, this is always kind of a weird spot for me because I don't really want to go like 5-way here. So kind of like a 3-bet. I'm lagging a little bit, it looks like. Naturally, we get cold called and the 4-bet shoves. I can't really call that. I just think I'm kind of not drawing dead, obviously, but I'm in really bad shape a lot of the time there. Ace Queen and Ace King might shove when he only has 60 big blinds. This guy's deep, so again, I'm going to give him a little more credit for being decent. I think he's going to float a fair bit. I did actually pick up a pair here, which is a little bit confusing to me at times. Oops, I meant to bet that. He calls again, which I'm not too excited about. The Jack's not a great card, but not really terrible either. I think I can probably check call if he bets like a reasonable size here, because I think he might double float and then bet. And I do have a pair. Nope, he has 9-8 suited, which is really kind of annoying, because if it's like a 9-high board, then first of all, he's either raising or it's much more obvious he has something. But on a paired board, obviously I can talk myself into thinking that he has nothing pretty easily. But it happens. Just gonna ISO, he's deep enough. Such awkward like stack sizes now. Like he can't really be good playing that stack size, but it's still really hard to play against. Probably gonna go for like a half pot here. I'm threatening his whole stack. He's gonna want to fold like everything, I think. And this guy's out of position, and there's not really any draws out there, so I'm feeling pretty good about this. Now I'm feeling pretty terrible because what does he ever fold? And like draws picked up a pair. So as gross as it is, I think I'm check folding. I don't really know why he hesitated so much. I try not to read too much into that though, because I mean I really don't see what we're beating there. It's kind of hard to put a stack size that small on like a float. And I'm just gonna bump it up here with a really strong hand. Try to ISO, get heads up. Not probably gonna work. Okay. This is a little bit of a bad board. I'm just gonna check here. We are deep as well, so I'm not like super excited about it. We pick up a double gutter. So and when he checks behind on the flop, I think I just like betting here. And when that card comes, I mean, it doesn't bring any more draws in, and it's hard to see him just smooth calling the turn with a straight. So I think I'm going to go for like a tiny bet fold here. Okay, well, he does fold, but interesting thing about, okay, this hand's going to become pretty unplayable with almost every turn card, so I'm just going to fold, even though I do have a pair. Interesting thing about how zone poker works is that, I mean, I read this somewhere. I don't think it was from Bovada, but it was from someone who read something that Bovada wrote about it, which is that the way it's determined who goes in the blinds is basically the person who went the longest number of hands previously without paying their blinds, which is pretty interesting. Gonna ISO this, of course. Pick up the idiot and a gut shot. Fold. It's kind of a loose open for me on the cutoff, and naturally we face a 3-bet. A really big 3-bet. It's kind of interesting since he's in position. I think I can ISO with this in position. Anyone limping, open limping the cutoff at 25 and L is probably going to be pretty bad. So I don't mind taking a semi-weak hand in position. But of course, we get 3-bet galore. This is one of those weird spots where I almost want to convince myself to call, just because, like, what does he ever shove for value here? Like 13 times over my open size. And the fact that I'm, like, it's a pretty clear ISO spot. But at the same time, I have queen high with, like, not really connected cards. Like here we go. This is, he pots it, which kind of makes me inclined to 3-bet. But people have been folding to 3-bets a fair bit. Oh, he calls, yay! It's kind of a nut board for us though, because, like, I mean, if he is calling with like suited connectors, he's got 9-8 and like 6-7 that are gonna call. What am I doing? I need half pot at least. We're deep, so I'm gonna go size on the bigger side, and I'm actually gonna 3-bet this. Sizing bigger. Obviously going for another bet here. It's not a fantastic card for us, but it's not that bad either. That's actually not a card I'm all that excited about, because, like, 9-10 just got there. If he's somehow floating with Queen Jack got there, but I don't think that's probably something to be concerned with. That's probably monsters under the bed. But I also don't see how I can not bet this. Going pretty small, and he calls, so I'm basically always ahead when he just calls. I'm going to check what he had in a second. I'm going to ISO this. Well, not really ISO, but raise it, so to speak. Wow, and we're going to go 4-way at 25 and 0. Right? We're going to go 4-way, or you're going to shove, one or the other. Limp shove is always my favorite. No, he's going to min. Oh my god, am I even allowed to fold this? I don't think I can even fold this when I have implied odds. my goodness. We flopped pretty well, that's nice. I expect him to shove pretty much his whole range here. Wow, that's pretty bizarre. Obviously not folding when I have a straight and over here, or excuse me, I have a flush draw and over here. Pick up an open ender too, which, you know, might not be good, but obviously we're getting like 1,000,000 to 1 now. And wow, what? What? Okay, that's pretty retarded. So he limp min 3-bets deuces, catches a set and plays it like that. Granted, I don't know why I'm like trying to analyze it since he was playing a 20 big blind stack, but it's kind of annoying to flop that well, turn that well, and then just brick everything. Especially when all of my outs were still good. Except for, I guess, maybe the deuce of diamonds? I'm not sure if where the deuce of diamonds was in the deck, if it was on the board or not, but flop a gut shot, not really excited about betting it. Here I'm just going to take a stab though, because why the hell not? They haven't really given me a reason to think that anyone has anything here. And pretty tough for anyone to have a deuce, of course. Hello. Huh. That's pretty interesting. So in this hand, the guy was open-ended on the flop, caught top pair on the turn, still had top pair on the river. So I guess I can't really hate his play too much, except for pre-flop, which is like, sure, you can open queen 6 suited on the button, but calling a 3-bet is kind of pretty bad. This is kind of weird. We just like fell into the nuts here. Only hope is he has a 9 and can pay me off here. Yep. Which is why we overpot it. Just gonna call here. It's gonna get kind of gross if he keeps betting. Could be about 10 cents again. So I actually think he might like bet worse 6s here, or like 2s. I've seen that. Like really, people bet like bad pair, bad kicker kind of hands, but like min bet. Okay, so top pair. Well, he had top pair, bad kicker. I'm just trying to get value, I guess. Aces again. All right. I've actually seen the min raise as something people tend to do with really good hands that they don't want to miss value on, or that they don't want to like scare people away with. But you know, obviously now that I've said that, he's gonna snap fold. Pretty good board to c-bet. I can barrel a fair number of turn cards if we don't time out. This seems like a pretty no-brainer call with someone else in the pot. Does get a little bit weird when we catch a board like this. If he calls, I think I can just fold and not really get involved. That raise makes my life pretty easy. Just get the hell out of the way. don't know why their fold button is so finicky, but sometimes a little difficult to press. It's a little bit awkward. I could maybe overcall here, or overlimp, just because he's so short. But this is a pretty weird spot. Wow, he pots it, but he is still a little behind that we can like get it in. So I'm just gonna make this weird min raise to get him all in. And wow, what? Oh, I wasn't expecting to be in that bad of shape. Couldn't even catch a two pair there. Ouch. Okay, well at least he was short stacked, I guess. I could definitely consider checking this sometimes, but he's always getting it in with an ace, so it seems like it's pretty fun to bet. It's just that he shows so short stacked that it's hard to see not getting it in even if I miss one street. Like he only really has two bets, more like 1.5 even. So there's some draws out there, and I doubt he's folding a 10 on the flop, so obviously betting. Not the best card, but I think I can bet fold here. Here I'm just going to c-bet small because he's really short stacked. And again, I'm going to go kind of small here. Wow. 2-1. I only really have. I could really only have 3 outs here. 6 at best, probably. Assuming he's not shoving like king high or something. He's called 2 streets, but I don't think I can really get a third street of value. If he has draws here, there's a small chance he bets them, so I can call. I doubt he's not going to call with like king high with diamonds, so it's hard to see much value in betting the river there. Can't really think of many worse hands that call. He calls, which, I mean, again, people are calling with like ace high and junk, so I think I'm just going to check behind though. Like, I don't really think a bet accomplishes much. He might bet a 10 here, but it's kind of hard to see him betting a 10. The problem is he can have a 7. He could have backed into a jack with like ace jack or king jack. I guess he could play 8-9 like this. I kind of want to call though, because he can have random shit like that. I realized I didn't really say that while I was in the hand. I kind of just called, but basically, people take really. They just kind of bluff. Don't really think about what it means or anything. Even at like 25-0, I expect people to be making pretty bad bluffs. 7-1 again. See, I actually think the last time I did this, I had queen 6 suited. But I'm not gonna bet just because it's hard to see what worse I get called by, except for exactly like 5-6 or like 6-7, 7-8. If these guys were fully stacked, I'd consider squeezing, but it just doesn't seem like a great option. He pots it with top pair. I don't think I can really fold. There's some good backdoor draws I can get. That's pretty unfortunate. I think I pretty much have to fold now, even though I'm getting like 3.25 to 1 or something like that. Probably going to wrap up the video soon. I know it's been going at least half an hour or so. No idea how much beyond that. What I may do is actually may just stop this video and then keep going on this session. So start up another video and just upload them separately. Obviously calling with the sevens, practically getting immediate odds to call. When he checks, I think a lot of his range is going to be king high and pocket pairs better than sixes. So I think I can bet 2 streets and get his pocket pairs to fold. Maybe even 1 street and get his pocket pairs to fold. This guy's deep, so kind of inclined to be, you know, bluff 3-betting against him more. It's not a great board just because if he is decent, he knows that the only thing I can really have that is decent here is pocket pairs. I think he's really strongly considering folding something like sevens here now. When he raises, it's like floats with ace queen pretty much all the time, I think. Or like, again, a weird 9-8 suited where he like just casually flops trips against me in a 3-bet pot. Just kind of sick, but yeah, not much I can do with king jack there. Man, we are just getting we're just getting beat up all over the place today. It's kind of sick. Like, I've never faced this many 3-bets in my life. Okay, that might be an exaggeration, but at Bovada, for sure, I've never faced as many 3-bets. Out of position, and he freaking, like, pots it. I just have to fold. Actually, he over pots it, I think. Pretty good card, obviously. Gonna bet count is small. I'll try to keep like 10x in. He actually probably has more draws than anything at this point, just because he kind of snap called twice, even when the ace came out, which should have made him kind of hesitate with like 10x. But I guess he could just have 10x. Wow. He make, well, I'm gonna time out, but, when he like limp min 3-bets the button, like it's so nasty, but I kind of have to call because of the odds that I'm getting. And then basically I know that I can fold if I don't hit pretty hard. Pretty much betting against his like ace-king type hands now. It's basically for, I mean, it is for value. It's just obviously not like the best in the world here. When he limps, I think I can just bet this. Expect to have the best hand almost all the time. I'm gonna 3-bet this. A little smaller than I might, just because he's out of position. Flop only a gut shot, which isn't the worst thing in the world. Snap folds, which is always nice. Pretty dry board, which is helpful. This is pretty interesting because I'm really deep with this guy. Pretty deep with both of them, actually. And his sizing just looks pretty strong, I would say. Obviously, we're not really doing anything else here now other than folding. If you were to check, I would actually consider stabbing, just because this is so draw heavy. He's never really checking a value hand on this flop, except for like if he were to 3-bet Jack 10 and then flop the nuts, I guess he could check it. But that's pretty much it, I would say. Obviously, this is a pretty decent board to c-bet. Ace high paired. I don't really feel like fighting for this pot with bottom pair. It's only going to get worse for us. And there's really no way for me to narrow his range that well in a limped pot. Not really sure what just happened there. I'm just not going to bother firing at that board. It's pretty gross. And I'm also just going to give him credit when he bets. At this point, it's hard to see what I'm getting folds from. And his stack size is so small that I'd rather just take a free card, I think. This is a pretty good board to c-bet. If it weren't, I wouldn't even really consider it against 2 players when they're only playing 50 big blind stacks. It's a little bigger than I probably should have made this bet here. Again, with a guy playing this stack size, I can't even really discount like 8x. We're still ahead of his draws, which might not even bet. And so I'm kind of inclined to just give up. This is sort of a semi-bluff now. Up on the top left, he min raises, which I've seen people do with such a wide variety of hands. I'm kind of inclined to just call one and reevaluate on the turn if he bets again. Obviously, we're just gonna like basically turn the nuts. I'm kind of inclined to check jam because I think he'll bet draws, he'll bet kings. Well, he might not bet every draw, but he'll bet some kings. Might bet his draws. And that's just like a fantastic card because like Queen Jack gets there. If he was getting just like playing a little bit weird with some weird hand, he sort of snap calls. So I'm kind of inclined to think he just had a king, a King Jack type hand. Pretty weird flop raise if that's true. He could have also had Ace X of diamonds. It's like another thing I was thinking of. Oops. Hoping that gives us the correct hand there. Button versus blind, I'm calling one street minimum. It's a pretty good card actually because it makes it a lot less likely for him to have a 10. When he's betting again, I actually think the 10 should scare him if he were to have like a pocket pair. And so, wow, that's like an enormous. Oh, never mind, that's a 3-bet. I thought that was his open raise. Kind of nitty, but the stack sizes are really gross, so I'm just going to fold that. Calling there. If he bets again, I mean, I don't think his story really lines up because, like, what? I guess kings or queens might just bet 3 streets here, not be worried about the 10, but I guess like pocket nines. It's just his value range is so narrow. Yeah, okay. So like pocket kings goes for 3 streets, but I would have thought he might have been scared of the 10. I'm not sure he should be betting 3 streets there. Like the fact that I just tried to bluff catch him with ace high is just kind of a weird freak thing. His sizing looked, I mean, his sizing was so huge. Like you're not really going to see that when the board looks like that, especially on the river. I mean, it's one thing to bet like that on the flop and turn where I can have like Queen Jack suited with a draw, with a straight draw. But, you know, wow, I'm getting snap called like all over the place. It's really kind of confusing me. I think I'm just going to check behind. I mean, he has some draws, but a lot of his draws are actually beating us, like 7-8, 9-7. Wow. What? It's hard to see this guy folding ever. I guess he might 4-bet though, which is kind of gross. I have to fold this. Well, this has been going downhill. Okay, yeah, so in that hand he did have a king. Should probably stop trying to bluff so much, but it's just so much fun. I don't really want to get into a check calling spot here. but I'm also not really seeing a better way to play the hand. Not really seeing what calls me. Wow. Yeah, just give him the not worst card in the deck for me. That's cool. Now I'm check folding. Alright, I think I'll just play a few more hands. Hopefully try to get like one more semi-interesting spot before quitting. I'm not sure there's much value in 3-betting that hand. That's a pretty bad turn card. If he bets, I probably have to give him credit for an ace and fold. I basically have to raise this. It's so draw heavy. What would half pot be? 70. Wow. So I just get cold called and then original razor calls. They both snap check. So I'm inclined to just bet. And they fold. He really looks like he's going for a cheap something here. Obviously, that's a great card for us. That's a pretty bad card. Holy shit. What? Wow, I almost shoved too. I was like, does he ever size like that with a straight? The main thing is like, if he can do that with a 9, then I really don't want to just be shoving, because then obviously he's not good enough to fold a 9. But, wow. That was weird. Okay. I thought we flopped a flush for a second. I'm just going to throw out a bet, because if no one has anything, we take down the pot. If they do have something, we don't even really rep flush draws. So when it comes in, we're definitely getting at least one street. Obviously, we have 8 high, so it can't really be for value, because even draws beat us, but I think it's going to take down the pot enough to be totally fine. Obviously, when I say one more spot, I mean one more spot where I play something and don't totally screw it up, ideally. And we bet all over the place. When you 3-bet's tiny, especially, it's like, alright, Alright, pal. I know I'm crushed. You can just 3-bet normal size. It's okay. This is just such a good board for my range that I think it's okay to c-bet. And multi-way, people are going to stay a little bit more honest. They're just going to kind of fold if they don't have anything, especially the guy in position, which is kind of more important anyway. Sizing just a tiny bit bigger here because I don't really mind folds. Naturally, he calls. It's a pretty decent board. Doesn't really hit too much for him. When he calls like that, I think he has tons of like weak pocket pairs. I'm probably going to triple barrel some good river cards. Yeah, so he snap folds, which is always fun when I'm triple barreling air. Yeah, I wouldn't probably try that at 5-L almost ever, and maybe not even that often at 10-L. Here I'm just calling with essentially implied odds. And I kind of like 3-betting this. Because I'm going to flop top 2, obviously. But the fact that he just like has to fold there, granted I have blockers to everything, but the fact that he is folding that in a 3-bet pot in position is kind of indicative of why it's okay to be 3-betting that in the first place. Let's see. The 25-L table finally has some action, which is nice. I guess that triple barrel spot probably would have been a good place to end. Oops. Wow. That's a pretty sweet card. Obviously, the only thing in his range that is really beating us right now is ace-queen, and there aren't that many combos of that, so I'm just going to bet kind of small and hope to get called by like king-queen, queen-jack. Not sure there's a whole lot of value in betting the kings here. This guy's stack, actually both their stack sizes make it pretty tricky. Paired board, I'm c-betting this pretty much every day of the week. Brother, it's not fun. People kind of can go crazy on paired boards. Like what does he really have here that flat calls pre-flop and is like check raising the flop? Basically nothing. I didn't mean to fold that in that way, but I think folding is fine. Now I'm just kind of heroing down. This is a nice card because if he does have like ace king, this actually looks like it could be pocket pairs, like weird pocket pairs sometimes, but oh wow, I'm I'm just like speechless here. Why the hell is he check raising king 3 there? Why is he calling it pre-flop, and why is he check raising the flop with it? All right, well, we got kind of bailed out. I think that might be a good place to stop. So this has been Scourge, 5-L, 10-L, and 25-L zone poker on Bovada. I hope you enjoyed watching this video. Hoping to start doing some more videos regularly, and especially with zone poker, it's so much easier to get volume, get in some spots. So definitely should be seeing some more from me. So again, hope you enjoyed watching, and signing off now.